welcome back to Fearless and Undefined. And on this episode of Super Queens, I have a very special friend who we ended up connecting over something we have in common at just a random old pageant we were at. And we talked for hours about everything we had in common, some of the same struggles we went through. And so I'm really excited to have her on today so she could tell her side of what it looks like to have dyslexia for her. And we also got to talk about what it's been like with me. So without further ado, let's go see if she's ready. Hi, thank you so much for joining me today. Why don't you tell everyone just a little bit about yourself?
Yes, my name's Bostyn Pardue. I'm 12 years old, and my title is America's Ideal Miss Heart of Texas PreTeen, and I have dyslexia.
Oh, well, I have dyslexia too, and I think that's why we get along so well. When were you diagnosed with it officially?
Whenever I was in first grade, I got diagnosed with it, and the way my parents told me that I had it was they showed me like all these famous people that had it, and they like printed out a paper. And it was really cool to know that like I wasn't the only one that had it. Like there was other people that had it too. And that I think really helped me like to know that like I wasn't alone in on it. And then in third grade, I figured out I have 5 more learning difference abilities, and there's too many to know what they are. But it's also kind of hard too because it also like kind of messes with your brain on school. But I just want other people to know that they're not alone in on it and that it's okay to be different from other people.
So how has it affected you in school personally? Because I know it's different for everyone.
Yeah, it's probably affected me most with like tests because whenever I do tests, I kind of blank out a little bit, if that makes sense, because like I study really hard and all of that. And then when I go to do the test, I get too nervous and then kind of like shut down a little bit.
I've been there one too many times. Has it ever affected you in pageantry, whether it was either talking on stage or maybe in an interview room?
Definitely not interview room because I kind of just like be myself and like talk a lot. And I have it done on stage, like question, like intro before, and it kind of like affects me just a little bit because I have to like remember all these things, like my whole like intro and all that stuff. And it kind of messes with. I'm definitely not great at memorizing words.
I can understand that. I remember this one interview specifically where they said something and I didn't know what that word was and I had never heard it before, but I was the first person in and I was too scared to ask. So I kind of went with context clues about what it was and I told my mom afterwards, and now every time I hear that word, I'm just like, oh, I should have known what it was. And my family laughs at me. They're like, oh, it's that word. How do you say it? I'm like, I don't even want to say it.
Yeah, big words make me a little bit upset because, like, I don't really know what they mean all the time.
The word was, let's see if I can get it correct, philanthropic, which is just a fancy way of saying community service.
Oh, that's a really big word.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was. I was 19 or 20 and I still was like, I got nothing, y'all. I was like, you know what? I heard in your community and I was like, it has something to do with community service. So I was like, okay, we'll do it this way. How do you usually work through the nerves of the big words when you're in an interview or even on stage?
Yeah, I usually like kind of sound them out in my head or before I go on and I know like if it's a big word or not, I usually sound it out loud because if I sound it out, then it kind of helps me just a little bit with the big word, but it's still like really hard to say.
Oh yeah, I've been there. There was one word that kind of like, it's that cat got your tongue moment, and it's hard to be like, I can't get it out right now because you're like, you feel it, it's trying, but it's not coming out the way you want it to. So for me, whenever I get big words that I don't understand, especially in an interview room, I've learned that it's okay to ask what something means, mainly because if you
Yeah.
don't know, you can't really answer the question. And I've learned
Yeah.
from multiple different judges that I've talked to, that I've done interviews with, that they would rather a girl ask what a word meant than for them to just completely guess, go off the wall, and not even answer the question. So for me, knowing it's acceptable to ask it what a question means, then that's perfectly okay.
Yeah. And like the judges want it to be a conversation. So like if you don't know what it means, then you just like say like, "Hey, I don't really know what that word means." But like you can also make it like a little bit funny to where it's like more conversational whenever you say it.
And for us, being able to say, hey, by the way, I have dyslexia, so I'm not really 100%
Yeah.
sure what that means, works great. You get to work that part into the conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
So, what helps you personally with your dyslexia? Whether it's having an audible book, maybe, or having a little bit longer to be able to work through things, what works best for you personally?
Well, I really do love an audiobook because in the summer we have to read a book for school and we like take tests on it and like all this stuff. And doing Audible helps me a lot personally because I'm not the best reader and I do not like to read at all. So I like somebody else to read it to me, and also my accommodations at school for my teachers to read it to me and all of that because that usually helps me understand the question better and more clear.
I had all of that too in school. When I was in high school, I was in a specific program where we didn't have exams over English classes. We had discussions, but we still had to read these like really
Yeah.
big books. And so my teacher helped me set up a program on my Kindle where I still had the book, but it would read to me and it would highlight the words as it went as I read it, which worked really well for me. But I learned that mostly being able to speak through what I need and be able to talk through things is easier than trying to get something from my brain to a pencil to a piece of paper.
Yeah, I feel like if I had a Kindle, it would make me want to read more because it's basically an electronic just that you can read off of.
Oh, I loved mine. I'm just like you. I am not a big fan of physically reading, but if I have like the
Yeah.
audio going, oh, I can get really deep in tune with books. I remember going through a 3-book series in 2 days, and the timing on them were each like 17 hours. And so I was like
Yeah.
hardcore into these books, like, oh, I got to finish this. I'm deep. I love it. But if I had to physically read it, I know that it would have taken me over a month to finish one book. So it's good to have
Yeah.
new age technology that helps us with these things.
Yes.
So, lastly, what would you like to tell girls that have dyslexia that may be worried about joining a pageant?
Don't be afraid to talk about your dyslexia in your interview. I know at first I was really scared of talking about my dyslexia because I thought people were going to judge me. But now I know a lot of people have it. But it still makes me a little bit upset that I am like not as fast as a learner, but definitely that I can get help on what I need and stuff. So, what I would tell another girl that had dyslexia and was going to do a pageant, go for it because you only live once. So, just go and chase your dream.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yes, thank you so much. It was so nice talking to you. Bye.